Okay, so gonna break this down in order of the swing, and we'll just go from there. Some positives, some negatives. The driver swing was better, what we've been working on in comparison to the iron swing, so we're gonna go with the driver swing. Off the bat, you can see that as you set up, you're a little far away from it, but you're not crazy far, but you are just a little bit too far. You can keep working on that. And then also you're gonna notice that from the camera angle that you're videotaping from, that occasionally you can see your left shoulder in frame and occasionally you can't. And basically what you're doing is you have a high right shoulder just a touch, and that's just because your right hand is kind of so dominant in the swing. So if you just kind of watch as you set up, you're just gonna notice glimpses of your left shoulder kind of pop in, and that's you getting to square and then feeling uncomfortable and then moving back to sort of a more open position where your right arm and right hand are more dominant. And I'll tell you how to kind of start to work on that towards the end of this. But as we keep going on to what we've been working on, the next few bits here are about the transition. You can see as you get the club to the top of the swing, with the driver swing, your hips do start to rotate first. With the iron swing, it looked like the upper body still might have moved a quarter of a second before the lower body, maybe the same time on that particular swing. But with the driver swing, you can definitely see a significant difference where the lower body starts to kind of unwind ahead of the driver. And then you can also watch as this moves into the forward swing that the driver head is going to, and your arms are going to stay directly in front of your shoulders, and that your shoulders are going to rotate past the ball, whereas in previous swings we talked about your shoulders stopped at the ball and then your arms went. With your hips moving first, your shoulders were able to get a little bit further ahead and thus get the driver in a better position. Then as you get past impact, you still really want to do a lot with your hands, so you're going to see this after impact, but it basically has to happen just before impact, and you can see your head start to move a little bit farther away from the your upper body start to move away from the ball as you come into impact to give yourself that space for your right hand to flip. And then right after you get past impact, you're gonna notice everything stops, and then you can see in this freeze frame that really what just happened is your right hand is flipped around. Now the driver head is facing basically behind you. It's the driver's going down the line, but the face is facing, with your back for the most part, which means you haven't really released the club. You just kind of flipped your hands around, and like I always say, you're a really good athlete, so you can get away with that. But as you work on that separation, you're going to start to get rid of that more and more, where your shoulders will have the ability to turn more and get past impact to that true impact position I was trying to get you to last time I was home. Just keep working on that hip separation, because you are making some obvious strides in it. I mean, even the iron swing is considerably better than the previous one, so you're getting there. You guys got to keep going on it. And then as for how to kind of get that right-handed flip move out of the swing, and also to help you with that setup that I was talking about, it's going to be really, 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 really difficult, but something that you're going to want to start to practice, and you're probably going to shank it or miss the ball or whatever as you do this. But the best thing for you right now, because you're so right-hand dominant in your swing, is going to actually be to hit one-handed lefty shots. So literally just hold onto the club with your left hand, set up normal, and try to hit 30, 40, 50-yard shots with a 9-iron or a pitching wedge. Or you can start with a sand wedge and try to hit 20-yard shots or 10-yard shots, and then work up to 40 and 60-yard shots with your left hand, and no right hand behind your back, and just keep doing this until eventually you can start to make some kind of contact with the ball, and then keep practicing this. I can basically make a 40% full swing with just my left hand on the club, maybe more, maybe I could gear it up to 60 if I did it a couple times. But essentially the entire swing is done with your left hand. Your right hand really only becomes active well after impact, to kind of get that club to flip around your body. But for the most part, your entire swing is going to be left hand dominant. So the sooner you can start to practice just hitting left-handed shots, the better you're going to be in the long run as you start to work on this. And as for the left shots that you hit with your driver, basically what's happening is you still have that right-handed move, but you have a much better move with your lower body. So your timing is now going to be different because you're still at a timing-based swing because you use your right hand so much, but it's going left because you're now in a new body position and you're just not used to making that timing up, and it's a lot harder because you are in a better position. It's a lot harder to make contact with using so much hands in your swing. Not that you can't, it's just harder to do, and we're going to slowly start to work you out of using your hands in your swing. But basically, the balls, when you miss, it's just a newer miss, and it's going to be a harder miss because you don't need to use your hands anymore, especially as you get your lower body moving first and unwinding, and then your upper body rotating past impact. You don't need your hands anymore. You can just do it with your body and your core and your big muscles. So now when your your hands, which are smaller muscles, are trying to you're still trying to use them because you've always had to use them. And so now the ball is going to start to move in ways it doesn't need to because you're using extra body parts. But, keep at it. Keep working on the separation of the upper and lower body. That's obviously helping because you made that separation and you can see the difference in the driver swing. And as you do that and get better at that, try and start to hit some 20-yard, 30-yard shots with a wedge, just left hand on the club. And it's going to be difficult, but, you're going to have to realize how easy you can swing to make that happen, because if you try to do all kinds of effort, you just don't have the coordination in your left hand to make all that happen. And but it looks good. Even the iron swing, even though it wasn't hips first, it obviously was much better than your other swings, which you had showed me, which the upper body really moved first. So making progress. Keep at it. Keep sending me videos. I don't mind doing this stuff. This took me maybe 30-35 minutes to put this whole thing together. So it's no big deal, but keep me involved, keep working at it, looks good.